On Friday, the problems that we did were, I'm trying to think where we might have started, 15 and 16. Are y'all listening? Yeah. 15 and 16. This is for those that missed. And then on that worksheet, 6-6. And then at the bottom part, number 20, 22, 25, 26, and 28. What am I looking at? Those that missed Friday, y'all had worksheet 6-6. We started it the class before. We finished it on Friday.
I don't have it.
You never got, did you get your makeup work from the school? Miss Stacy has it all because I delivered all that to Miss Stacy stapled together. So you'll have to get it from her because I cannot do all that again. But I promise I sent everybody's work down who had been missing. And now if there's something that you didn't get in that stack, let me know. But everything should be there because they would send us a reminder and we would get all that work together. Anyway, on 6-6, worksheet 6-6, this is where you started it the previous class and then we finished it. Again, those numbers were 15 and 16 and 20, 22, 25, 26, 28, oh, and I forgot to say 30. They did 30 as well. Okay?
How do we do number 5?
22, 25, 26, 28, and 30. I didn't do the evens because I switched to 25. Okay, those are the numbers. This is all being recorded. If you missed it, you can check back on there. But those are the numbers that they did. Now, how you do those, I'm about to show you. That's why I'm not taking this up for a grade. I guess go get them because I gave them all. Did y'all not come pick up your work? Y'all didn't. Okay, yeah. I think they just put everybody who was absent. They just told us to bring their papers down.
Miss Casey,
Let me start with number 1. Okay, number 1. This says isosceles trapezoid, but what do we know about an isosceles triangle? That 2 of the sides are equal, and if the sides are equal, those base angles are equal. Because remember, angles have to do with the sides across from them. Okay, so if the angles are equal, the sides are equal. It's kind of like opening a door. Whatever that angle is when you open the door determines how long or the distance the door is open, right? So it's the same thing for an isosceles triangle. If the sides are equal, the base angles are equal. Well, same thing on the isosceles trapezoid. If the sides are equal, the base angles are equal. But we just have 2 sets of base angles. All right, these are my sides that they have the same, this side and this side. So all my base angles are equal. By that I mean angle K is going to be equal to what? Angle N. What are my other base angles? L and M. So L is going to be equal to M. Does that make sense? Do we remember that rule? So if this one's 66, what's angle K? 66. But that's not what it's asking for. What's angle L going to be? Not 66. It's not the same angle. But you would just subtract it from what? 180. It's the same. Does she have them? Good. I figured she did. 180 minus 66 is what? 114. And if that one's 114, what's this one? 114. And anyway, that's what it was asking for, was angle L. Any questions on that part? So that, I think maybe something you've already learned from worksheet 6-6, especially if you watch the video. Then on number 2, it says, what's true about the diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid? What do we remember about an isosceles trapezoid's diagonals? They are congruent. Okay, so that's this letter F. Okay, then the mid segment. I think we also did this 2 lessons prior. You find the mid segment by adding the bases and dividing by 2. It's just taking the average. Okay, so if you take 4.1 plus 8.2 and divide it by 2, what did y'all get? 6.15? I'm thinking that's what, I don't have my calculator, but that sounds right. Okay, then we go to the kite. So all that, again, 2 lessons ago. Now the kite, this is where we finished 6-6. So they want us to find x. That's the first thing they're asking for. What is x? And here's our kite. Well, what do we know? And just think about a real kite. The parts that hold that kite like tight and together, what are these angles in here? All 4 of these angles are going to be what? 90. They're going to be equal angles. They're going to be 90. So all you have to do is put x plus 7 equals 90. So then how do I solve for x? Minus 7, and you get what? 83. There's our x. Okay? Is everybody good with that one? Then the next one, it's the same type of idea. The other thing we learned about a kite is that the sides were equal. So I know that, like if I folded it over, this part of the kite would be equal to what? This part. And the same thing here. This long piece would be equal to what? This one. So pick some and set them equal. No matter what I pick, I should get the same answer for x. So I'll pick the 2 that I marked. 2x minus 5, and I said that would equal x minus 1. Is everybody good with that? If you picked the others, you'll get the same answer, okay? Then I would subtract x. I get x minus 5 equals negative 1. And then what do? I add 5, and I get x is 4. I think your worksheet was just a little bit harder than that. So if in the video it messed up, I'm hoping this one does not mess up. So if you have questions, y'all can come see me 4th block today, or, oh, not Wednesday. We have dentist appointments. Y'all can see me 4th block today, or maybe Thursday during 3rd block. Okay? Thursday during 3rd block. Does that sound good? Anybody that might need help with that worksheet? Or you can ask a friend too. That works too. Okay, are we ready to move on? Yeah. Or at the end of class, if we have time, y'all can ask me then.
What games am I doing today?
Oh, okay, I did need to say, this is the last lesson. Is everybody listening? Before your test. Okay? But there is one more lesson. Shh. There is one more lesson after this, but I think it's getting to be too much material for us on the test. So, and this one's a little bit more difficult. This is going to be the last lesson. The other lesson we may do after the test, just so you've seen it, because it will be a question on your EOC. Okay, it will, most likely I think that it's on the practice EOCs every year, and it's just a good EOC question. Okay, yes.
Today, are we doing the study guide?
So that means Wednesday is study guide, and test is Monday.
Bruh.
Yep. It's just the way it falls, because I don't have y'all Friday. So it's the way it falls. But, and if y'all want me to, I have the study guide just not printed. I can give that to you 4th block if anybody wants the study guide. But you'll have, it's a week from today. So I think you'll be fine. They're just not printed just yet. Distance formula, midpoint formula, and slope formula. None of these are new. Like what we're doing today, none of it is new. It's just remembering all these. If you want to write this down, you can write these down. Okay? And then I'll explain how we'll use them in a second. And no, you need to write it down, because y'all can't have your phone out anyway on your tests and things. So just the distance formula, and it's something that you need to have probably memorized. I don't think ACT would give you that formula.
This wasn't too hard.
What? No, this is not too hard. So our first problem, here is a picture. And y'all, that's what your first 4 problems on here are. There's not a lot of problems. It just takes time to do some of the math. Now, here's your triangle. It's asking, is this triangle scalene, isosceles, or equilateral? If you don't know what those 3 things mean, you can't even begin the problem. So scalene means that no sides are equal. Remember that? It's like a big lopsided triangle. No sides are equal. What does isosceles mean? 2 sides are equal. And what does equilateral mean? 3 sides are equal. If you didn't know what those words meant, there's probably a way you could have figured out what each of them meant, right? Equilateral, equal. I think y'all know isosceles means that 2 of them are equal. Well, then you could just assume scalene means none of them are equal because that's what's left. So what we're going to do is we have to find the distance of all these little segments. It's really nice, like on number 4, it's the only one where you can do this on your worksheet. Look at number 4. I can tell the distance of this one. Why? Because it's a straight line. Do y'all see how it's not going diagonally? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's the distance of that one? It's 8 squares. So I could know 8 for that side. Now, this one is not that way. I don't know the distance of any of them. So what of those 3 formulas do you think I'm going to have to use? The distance formula, maybe? Okay? So I'm going to use the distance formula 3 times to find each distance, and then I'll know what kind of triangle it is. Okay?
That seems like a lot of work.
It is work, but it's not bad. Now, first thing, let me write down my ordered pairs. What's the ordered pair of this one? Over 0, up 1. Does everybody understand that? So I'm just writing that on my paper. We'll get to it in a second. That was ordered pair A. Now, what's this ordered pair for B? I'm going over 4 and up how many? 4. I'm going to show you my paper in just a second. And then for C, I'm going over 7 and up 0. Stay in there. 7, 0. Now, here are my 3 ordered pairs. Everybody good with that? Yeah? Let me find the distance between A and B first. Let's find the distance between those. So it's the square root. I just always set mine up. And I subtract my y's and I subtract my x's and subtract my y's. What do they do first? X's. So for A and B, what's 4 minus 0? I'll put that there and we'll figure that out. And then for my y's, what am I going to put? 4 minus what? 1. Questions real quick on what I just did. Your distance formula says subtract your x's, square them, plus subtract your y's and square them. That's all I wrote down. Is everybody good with that? Yeah.
You have to use your second y first?
No, you can use either one. Like, as long as you're consistent with what way, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to use my 4's first because they were both bigger numbers. Okay? But it doesn't, like, you could have used these first. Whenever you square it, y'all, it's always going to go to a positive number. Anytime you square something. So it doesn't matter which one you use first. So I put the square root, and what's 4 minus 0? 4 squared. And what's 4 minus 1? 3 squared. So what is 4 squared? And what is 3 squared? And what is 16 plus 9? What is the square root of 25? 5. So AB is my distance of 5. Oh, let me zoom out. I don't think. Now, some of you could have done that in 2 steps. Okay? I just wrote everything out. So it does look like a lot of work. I wrote every single step. It is good to write steps so you don't get confused. Now, that's my distance for AB. So let me pick points. How about B and C? Okay? So let's use those 2 ordered pair and find their distance. So I'm just going to set it up. I'm subtracting those and subtracting these. So if I'm using B and C, which ones do y'all want to use first? It doesn't matter. We'll get the same answer. We'll use a 7 and the 0 first. So 7 minus 4. And then what's my other one I'm going to write? 0 minus 4. Any questions so far? I just plugged them in and I'm subtracting. What is 7 minus 4? 3. And so you could go ahead. What's 3 squared? 9. Is everybody good that is 3 squared, which is 9? Now, what is 0 minus 4? Negative 4. But negative 4 squared is what? positive 16. Every time it's going to be a positive 16. I mean, not a 16, but a positive. Because when you square it, if you type it in your calculator wrong, though, it'll give you a negative, and that's not right. Make sure you type it in there right. And then, again, what is this going to be? The square root of 25, which is what? 5. Again. So we know it's at least isosceles, right? It's not scalene because 2 of them are the same. Now we have to do the third side and see if it's equal. So what is my third side? I've done A and B and C, A and C. Okay, let's find the length of that. So again, the square root of, I'm going to set it all up, for A and C, and I'm just going to start with 7, 0 again. So what is 7 minus 0? I'll do that in a second. And then 0 minus 1. Is everybody okay? So 7 minus 0 is what? And 7 squared is 49. And 0 minus 1 is what? Negative 1. And negative 1 squared is just 1. Y'all, is that equal the square root of 50? No. The square root of 50 would never be equal to 5. So, what type of triangle is it?
Isosceles.
Isosceles. All that just to see that it's isosceles. That's your answer. Y'all want me to do one more?
No.
Y'all get that already?
If there's a really hard one.
I'm going to give y'all just, I'll pass these out in a second. You're going to do 2 and 4. And look, I already found one of the sides for you on number 4, right? It's very convenient. You don't have to find the distance because it goes straight across like that. So you can count how many squares it is. That's always nice when that happens. But the rest of these, you're going to have to find. I'm going to assume what they are by the picture, but you need to find the distance of each side and see if it's one of those things. Everybody's ready for this? Okay. Same concept. Flip your paper over and let's look at number 11. It says, is the trapezoid isosceles? How would you find that out?
Oh, it is isosceles.
How would you find out if that trapezoid on number 11 is isosceles? You can't. You would have to find what's the distance of this and what? It doesn't look like it to me, but what's the distance of this? And let's see if they're equal. So I want y'all to do that. I'll give you your 2 ordered pairs. Or I'm sorry, your 4 ordered pairs, but well, you have to find 2 of them. Are y'all paying attention? So this one I'm going to go over 2 and up 1. And for A, I'm going to go left 1 and up 3. So negative 1, 3. You're going to find the distance of those 2 points. Write it down. Negative 1, comma 3. 2, comma 1. Then you're going to find the distance of these other 2 points. Let me write it down. And this is your distance formula. The square root, subtract your x's and square them, subtract your y's and square them. Okay, that's all that means. This ordered pair is negative 1. Oops, I said that wrong. 2, negative 1. And then this ordered pair is negative 1, negative 2. That's what I was meaning. Okay, so you find the distance of those, find the distance of those, and see if it's equal. Here's our next type of problem. It kind of skips around. I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to go through all the numbers and stuff on here because I'll do one off your worksheet in a second. But they give you this kite, and they want you to find the midpoints of the sides, draw your figure inside there, and decide what that shape is. Okay? So we're going to find the midpoints, like the middle of each section. Okay? The middle of this, the middle of this, the middle of this, and the middle of this. And if we connected those, I'm not going through the numbers on this one, we get this figure. What do you think it is? I'm going to say a rectangle. You would find the distance, which on this one is very nice. There's no calculating. There's counting. They're not diagonals, right? So you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one has a distance of 6. That one has a distance of 6. What do these up and down have a distance of? 4. So what is that shape going to be? A rectangle. It would have been a square if they had been equal. So anyway, does everybody kind of get the idea of what we're doing? Yeah? No? You just take this, and I'm going to show you how to find the midpoint in just a second. But I just want you to get an idea of what we're doing. I'm going to find the middle of this line. I gave you a formula for that already. I'm going to find the middle of this line, the middle of this line, and the middle of this line. I plot those 4 points, and when I draw that figure, that's what it looks like. And then they say, what is that figure? Well, it's a rectangle, or it's a square, or it's a rhombus, okay? This one is a what? Rectangle. We're only going to do a couple of these. I think, like maybe 2, because on your study guide, there's, let me see how many.
Are we drawing the shape in these?
So you've got, let me do number 5. You'll do, how about you do 7 and 8? And I'll do number, do I want to do 5 or 6? I'll do number 5. Okay, so on number 5, I want to find the midpoint, not mid-segment, the midpoint of each of those. So that means I have to add the x values, divide by 2. Add the y values, divide by 2 for each little thing. Let me write down my ordered pairs. What is this ordered pair? So on your 7 and 8, what's your first step? Write down your ordered pairs. So 0, 3. 3, 0. 0, negative 2. And, is that right? 0, negative 2. Oh, yeah, this one's up here. Negative 3, 1. There's all my ordered pairs. Does everybody understand that part? Now I must find the midpoint of each of those. To find the midpoint, I add my x's and divide by 2, add my y's and divide by 2. So let me start with these. What's 0 plus 3? And 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Let me do this in another color. I'll do it in red. So 1.5. And then what's my other? 3 plus 0 divided by 2. It is also 1.5. So I'm going to go over 1.5 and up 1.5. That's my midpoint. Does everybody kind of get that? You're just finding the middle of the line. And you got to do this for each of them. Okay? I picked 7 and 8 because I think they'll be a little bit easier for you to tell. Now, I'm going to... Yeah, because look at your midpoint formula. You just find the average. So you add and divide by 2. That's midpoint formula, not distance. Huh?
Number 7.
Uh-huh.
I got 0 for my
Yep.
P, and I got 2, 0 for letter Q.
Yep.
So we just add 2 and 0 divided by 2 and 1.
Yep. And then what would your y value be?
4 divided by 2 would be 2.
2. There's your midpoint. Yep. Oh, sorry. You couldn't even see that. So like that.
So that's our midpoint.
So yeah. All right. Now I'm going to finish number 5 though, okay? So I'm going to take my x's along this side. 3 plus 0 divided by 2. I get the same thing again. 1.5. Then I get negative 2 plus 0 divided by 2 is a negative 1. So I would plot that ordered pair over 1.5 and down 1. And y'all, you should be on your line. If you get a point that's not on your line, you messed up because you're finding the midpoint, okay, of that line. So there's my next one. Now let me see what we have. I'll do these two. Negative 3 plus 0 divided by 2. Your calculator would do all that for you. If you just type that in, negative 3 plus 0 divided by 2. That's going to give me negative 1.5. 1 plus 0 divided by 2 is 0.5. So I'm going to go over, did I do those right? Negative 1.5. Oh, nope, sorry, it was negative 0.5. Over negative 1.5 and down 0.5. And you should be on your line. Okay? Now let's see what's next. I'm going to add my x's. Negative 3 plus 0 divided by 2. Negative 1.5. 3 plus 1 is 4 divided by 2. So I'd go over negative 1.5 and up 2. And again, I should be on that line. Then I just connect my dots. Oops, that's not very accurate. Okay, and what do you think this shape is? Look closely. It's not a, this line kind of goes down like that. That line kind of goes down. What are you thinking it is? I don't think it's going to be a square. I know that this is 3 and this is 3. My guess would be that it's going to be a parallelogram. I'm going to find my distance real quick right here and see if it's the same. If it's not the same, then it's just going to be a parallelogram. So let me find my distance. Some of them are going to be easier. I gave you the easier two, 7 and 8. 7 should be very easy. You don't have to use distance formula or anything. Okay, I chose the harder one. So if I was to find my distance of those, I'm just going to do this on the side. Square root of, subtract my y's, negative 1.5 on the side. Subtract my x's. Parallelogram, P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L-O, and then gram, G-R-A-M.
Is number 7 a parallelogram or rectangle?
I don't think it's a parallelogram.
It's a rectangle.
So I just spelled that out.
I was talking about number 5 on being the parallelogram.
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
But I'm thinking, now I'm checking the distance. Y'all don't have to do this part, but I'm checking the distance. Okay.
For Q or number 7, I got it. Like, it don't work.
You got one.
Hold on, let me finish this part. Negative
Got one and
1.
negative one?
Yeah.
I got 1 and 1.
Yes. You got one.
1 and negative 1.
Smitty, how did you get that? Wait. Oh, wait, no, I'm true. 0,
Okay, this was not actually that bad.
So yeah, I get, these are a little bit longer, but it's not a rectangle because there's a slope to this. That's where slope would come in. It's not parallel. So number 5 is where I get that it's just a parallelogram. Okay, I can't tell that it's a rhombus or anything. What did y'all get for number 7?
I got a rectangle.
Yeah, it is a rectangle. You should have been able to count the distances because on a kite, like it works out that way. You know, it's everything's on those lines on the grid. Now, I want y'all to try number 8 and tell me what you get to in just a second. So y'all are doing 7 and 8. Number 7 was a rectangle. So real quick, y'all, these are your midpoints. I wrote the 4 because I saw the 4, but it was a negative 3. So that's why I redid this one. So it's, they were done good. Let me pause this. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to pause this. Okay. Make sure, y'all, we've got 20 minutes. This is our last problem for the worksheet. I'm about to pass out the study guide, and we'll just start looking on. This is it. This is all of it. Okay? But there is another step. Again, it is not this difficult on your test, but you need to at least see this and apply things, okay? Now, what I've done is I've gotten all my midpoints. I added the purple numbers divided by 2, okay? So I got 2, 3, 1, 0, negative 2.5, negative 1. I wrote that one down wrong at first. Over negative 1, up 2, okay? So those are my midpoints. You can't assume, you could probably assume that it's not a square or a rectangle because you can tell they're not 90-degree angles. The question is it a parallelogram or is it a rhombus? What would make it a rhombus?
They're congruent angles.
They're congruent angles. Do you know another thing that we haven't looked at today that we could look at is the slopes. If you know the slopes of these, let me do another color. Let's do yellow. If I know the slopes of these are opposite reciprocals, that means they're 90-degree angles, then that would be a rhombus. Does that make sense? Remember, a rhombus has perpendicular diagonals. So all I would have to do is take these two numbers, these two ordered pair, find the slope, take these two ordered pair, and find the slope. Okay? And then let's compare them. So I'll do that. Let me see if I have green. Oh, are y'all laughing at me? It could be you, because you're the one spelling it. Anyway, let's find the slope of this line. Okay, that's this ordered pair and this ordered pair. I couldn't find my green marker. So I would, do y'all see the slope formula on the board? Yep. Subtract your y's in the numerator, subtract your x's in the denominator. So what are my y's? 3 minus negative 1. What's 3 minus negative 1? 4. Okay. Over. Now let's do the same thing. 2 minus negative 2.5. What's 2 minus a negative 2.5? 4.5. That's my x value, negative 2.5.
Oh, I thought we were doing the one up there.
No, this red point and that red point. See, that one and that one. I'm seeing that. What is 4 divided by 4.5? Somebody's have to do it on the calculator. I just need to get my calculator out. 4 divided...
8, it's 0.9.
Or 8/9. If I press math, enter, I also get 8/9. Sometimes it's good to tell slope with fractions. So press math, enter, you would get 8/9. Now, let me do these two red points right here, there and there. See the slope of that line. So I'll subtract my y values. What's 2 minus 0? 2. What's negative 1 minus 1? Negative 2. All right, what's negative 2 over 2? Negative 1. Are these slopes opposite reciprocals? No. Opposite reciprocal means if that's 8/9, that would be negative 9 over 8. So they're not quite perpendicular. Okay, so it's just a parallelogram for number 8. All that just to say it's a parallelogram. It wasn't a rhombus, it wasn't a rectangle, it wasn't a square. Okay, I know that's a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is, what numbers did I give y'all on this? I might not take this one up just because we did a lot of this together. But I'm going to pass out the study guide. You will just take the rest of the class, start on your study guide, and we are going to have a study guide day all day on Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I'm just kidding. We're going to do that on Wednesday.